You are listening to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast, where we strip away the noise, unleash our truth, and align with our highest self. I'm your host, Coach Felicia, a life coach, energy guide, and your biggest believer. Now let's dive into today's episode. You are listening to the Unleashed and Aligned podcast, where we strip away the noise, unleash our truth, and align with our highest self. I'm your host, Coach Felicia, a life coach, energy guide, and your biggest believer. Now let's dive into today's episode. You are listening to Unleashed and Aligned podcast, and I'm your host, Coach Felicia. We are diving into the solar plexus chakra. And the solar plexus chakra is going to be a vibrant yellow energy that is located above the navel. This energy system is going to encompass our relationship with ourself. And one of the things that I want to point out before we get too far into these is that the first three chakras are going to be our relationship with the material world and ourself. So it ties us to this physical plane. And it's going to be in relation to all things related to people and our physical material world. And as we ascend through the chakras, we are going to ascend upward into the universe, the heavens, whatever you want to call it, spirit, and it's going to rise up and more into ourselves and up. And so the solar plexus chakra really encompasses that connection that is starting to go within. So it's our relationship to the external world and how we're perceiving it inward. Our ego, our self-esteem, how we internalize things from the outside world, and our relationship to how we're dealing with that internally. And the sacred truth of the solar plexus chakra is honor one's self. So again, the solar plexus chakra is going to be our relationship with ourself, our ego, our self-esteem, our self-confidence, self-respect, care for oneself, our decisions, our personal honor, and our sensitivity to criticism. So when we're looking at the sacred truth, honor oneself, it helps us really look within and listen to that inner guidance within us. The third eye that we'll be getting to, it is in relation to intuition. But our intuition really starts in our solar plexus. Because without honoring yourself, without having self-esteem and trusting yourself, having self-worth, how are you ever going to listen to your inner guidance? So this is where self-esteem starts. You don't need an intuition class. You need to start listening and honoring yourself. How do you treat yourself? Where's your self-respect? Let's start with that. How is your self-trust? So how are you influencing self-perception in the quality of your life? A lack of self-love can result in unhealthy choices and dependent on others for validation. The third chakra prompts us to assess our power and our identity. It's like becoming attuned to yourself entails recognizing insecurities, embracing your shadow side, understanding your values, and living in that intentionality. It involves cultivating supportive thoughts, just like we were talking about. Words have vibrations, thoughts have vibrations. So in the sacral chakra, we're talking about how our words that we speak have vibration to them. and you're putting that out into the universe. Every thought has a vibration. So paying attention to our thoughts. What kind of thoughts do we have about ourselves? How can we have more self-compassion, have a better self-concept within our internal world, within our thoughts? What kind of thoughts are you telling yourself every day? Honoring yourself, making authentic choices, embracing both the light and the dark aspects of ourself, staying committed to yourself and seeking authenticity within, independent of that external validation. And I want to talk a little bit about that light and the dark because I think it's very easy for us to honor ourselves, love ourselves, celebrate ourselves when we're doing amazing things and we're showing up and we're seeing results and people like us and they're giving us compliments. But where are you and where is your head when those things aren't available? When you really need you? What are you saying to yourself? How are you honoring yourself in those dark times, in those the dark aspects of yourself, in that shadow? When you say something that doesn't line up with your beliefs or your values, how are you treating yourself in those instances? And I think so many of us are striving. We just want to become so conscious and we want to do all the right things and we want to say all the right things and we want to be all positive all the time and we want to spread love. And I think that's amazing. And I also think it's not realistic. I think that there are times that we are not our best self. And there are times where we may have jealous thoughts. We may have mean thoughts. We may say the wrong thing. We may speak out of emotions instead of really thinking about how we're coming across to that person. Instead, we just fly off the handle or we speak because we feel a certain way. And in these instances, I think that it's the most important to honor yourself and to be that best friend that you really need at that time. How can you love on yourself and still be consciously aware of the actions that you take and what you would do differently or how you might approach the situation next time? Or really reflect on why that even happened. Why did you say the things that you didn't mean to say or that were coming out of emotion? Really diving deep on why we do the things that we do from an observer perspective instead of having our emotions attached to it. And honoring when we don't feel good and when we do feel like we're in a bad mood. And that is okay. I think so many times we're thinking we need to fix things. We need to fix all these things. And I totally am understanding of that page and how I can relate to wanting to fix. I just want to fix myself. I just want to fix everything. And then once I fix it, I'll be like this perfect thing. And that's never going to happen. We have endless amounts of things to fix. We are human. We are supposed to make mistakes. We are supposed to have fluctuations in our mood. We are supposed to feel our emotions intentionally. And sometimes we don't want to do it. Sometimes we push them away. And that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge those parts of us. It's okay to not feel okay. And when we are seeking, especially I think in the spiritual world, I feel like we're trying to have these developments and these ahas, and sometimes we can get too caught up and being more conscious and fixing the things of our ancestral past or the energy vibrations or how do we do all these things? And we can forget to be present with ourselves. And we can forget that it's okay to just move through life. It's okay to be exactly where you're at and to not understand certain things. And It's okay if other people don't want to be there with you. It's okay if other people don't want to tap in to their consciousness like you do. It does not mean that they're broken. It does not mean that they need to be fixed. It does not mean that you're broken or need to be fixed. It means that you're just seeking more. You're just an information seeker. And that's okay. Because when we come conscious and we start to really internalize and go within, we're going to realize that there's things that are probably going to come up that we don't want to deal with, that we don't want to accept. Things that our spirit is trying to say, you need to speak in front of 100 people. You need to go on that trip across the oceans. You need to leave that person behind. And these are things that we do not want to really be consciously aware of. And that's okay too. It's okay to be exactly where you're at and to still be navigating it. But just know that when we are in these experiences, I think that the best thing that we can do when we're going through these changes and trying to evolve our consciousness is to be truthful to ourselves. That is what the solar plexus is really asking of us. Can we be true to ourselves even when we don't want to admit it? Can we say, yeah, actually, I know my soul is saying that I need to pack up everything and leave my whole world behind, but I'm not ready yet. And that is okay. But just to acknowledge and to accept it can be very relieving in itself. So, what does this look like to honor yourself? Just like I talked about, speaking and living in your truth and really living in your truth. And that means you know all the answers within you. You know where your soul wants to go and what it wants to do. And honoring that, living in that might not be okay right now, but honoring what you really want and what your spirit really wants is one of those areas that we need to be truthful about. Setting and maintaining strong boundaries. Strong boundaries with other people, strong boundaries within ourselves. When we have goals, honoring the truth and accepting what that looks like. And if we want to create a boundary, making sure that we are creating it out of love for ourselves and love for one another. So a boundary will always be something that you are going to do. It is never going to be a task that you are placing upon somebody else. It's if you gossip, I will walk away. That is a boundary. Trusting yourself and making confident decisions. No choice has a right or wrong. Every choice will lead you to your highest growth and your highest learning. So next time you have a choice, just make one. It's as easy as that. The longer that you marinate in a choice, my coach always calls it the miserable maybe. You're just staying in that miserable maybe energy. So just make a choice and go with it. That is the highest good. That choice is for your highest good, and it's going to lead you on the best path for you. Taking ownership of your life and your actions. And this is a big one because people don't want to take ownership. They want to blame others. They want to blame circumstances. Taking ownership what's happening in your life. We are all amazing manifesting beings. We're creating our life and our reality every day. That's why I say pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your words. When you want to do something, think about it. Anything that you've achieved in your life, you had a thought about achieving it and you strive to make that goal happen. So owning your life and your actions, the decisions that you make. There may be things that are out of your control, but the way you think, act, feel, move through life, that is your decision. So owning that decision. Releasing perfectionism and self-criticism. Again, this is all about choice. We can choose to keep harping on something, to try to get a version of perfect, which in my opinion, everybody's version is totally different. So it's like an unachievable goal. Or we can just allow ourselves to move on. Not everything's going to be perfect. We don't need perfectionism to show up in the world. Releasing that self-criticism, that voice in your head, just literally saying, thank you, brain, for trying to keep me safe, because that's all it is. I don't accept it, and I'm choosing to think this. Taking bold, aligned action. What is aligned with you? Again, going back to your spirit, what is your spirit calling you to do? And being bold enough to step into what that is. What your spirit is calling for you, how you're showing up in the world, who you're impacting in the world, how you're impacting. Practicing self-respect and self-care. The solar plexus is all about self-care and making sure that you're managing your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your spiritual well-being. I love the Psychic Story podcast because she always talks about spiritual hygiene. Brushing up on your spiritual hygiene. It's like brushing your teeth. Meditating and connecting is just something that you do. And I love that, and I try to honor that within my daily routine. And maybe that's a gratitude practice. Like, it can look different for everybody. It doesn't need to be meditation. It can just be something where you're honoring yourself, you're honing into yourself and your spirit. So before we end this, I want you to walk away with some questions that you can ask yourself, some reflective questions. So consider some of these today, tomorrow, maybe journal about them and leave comments. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear from you. The first question is, what do you love about yourself? The second question is, what are your strengths and unique qualities? The third question is your self-talk positive or negative? The fourth question is, do you prioritize your needs or put others first? The fifth question is, how do I handle criticism or setbacks? The sixth is, do I set healthy boundaries? Do I set any boundaries? The seventh is, can I assess myself confidently? The seventh is, can I assert myself confidently? The eighth is, how do I treat myself in challenging times? And the last one is, do I trust my abilities and my decisions? So, what kind of actions are you going to take today that will honor yourself? So, what kind of actions will you take today to honor yourself? I'll see you in the next podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review so that we can connect with more people to develop our mind, body, and spirit.